loved about our time doing church on Zoom is the chance to ask questions. Aiden was telling me this week that humans are unique in the animal world as question askers, that maybe this is what actually sets us apart and makes us so weird in the animal kingdom. Lots of animals are curious and will figure things out for themselves, but humans are unique in asking questions, in knowing somehow that other people are seeing things that we are not seeing and wanting that knowledge for ourselves. We ask questions all the time. We are meaning-making, storytelling, question-asking animals. And I think in part it is because we are made in the image of a storytelling, meaning-making, question-asking God. There are questions that come up over and over and over again in our lives. Questions like, what's for dinner and where are the scissors? Why am I here? What is the meaning of life? Why is there suffering? Why me? What's in it for me and how do I get ahead? Job and Job's friends have been asking questions throughout the entire book, and some of the questions are great, and some of the questions are those painless, painful, endless questions that come over and over again. Why is there suffering? And finally, after so long, God gets a chance to answer, and God answers out of the whirlwind. There's such a beautiful image, this God speaking out of the whirlwind, and what God finally has to say as God's big answer is a lot more questions. And I kind of love this tone of voice of God in Job, this sort of snarky, sassing, snapping God. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Were you there when I made the heavens and the earth? Well, I will ask you questions, and you shall answer me, says God. Tell me if you have understanding. I love this because this idea of God who, in this middle of sort of a sassy rebuke, all of a sudden breaks into some of the most gorgeous poetry of morning stars singing together and heavenly beings shouting for joy. And I get sad for Job and for us that we weren't there. It sounds like God is saying, it was amazing, actually, making all the things. I had so much fun determining the measurements of the universe and sinking the bases and laying the cornerstones of reality. I'm sorry, Job, that you didn't get to be there with me when morning stars sang together and heavenly beings shouted for joy. I'm sorry, Job, that you do not get to lift your voice to the clouds and send forth lightning, that you do not get to feed the young lions when they crouch in their dens. God is up to so much that is just not things we get to do and not things we get to see. And what if the questions we brought to God are, tell me more about when the heavens sang for joy at the beginning of time. Tell me more about what it is like to feed the ravens when they are hungry. And Jesus, too, being the incarnate, God often brings questions when people bring him questions. The number of times that somebody asks Jesus things that could be seen as a fairly reasonable question, and he answers them with questions that seem to have nothing to do with what they have asked. The questions Jesus asks are more along the lines of, what are you looking for? Do you want to be healed? Why are you afraid? Why do you worry? Why are you anxious? Why are you weeping? Can you drink the cup that I drink? And he asks over and over again, what do you want me to do for you? When these Zebedee boys, God bless them, say, we have something that we want to ask and we want you to agree to do it before we tell you what it is. He stops and says, what do you want me to do for you? And I will give it to the Zebedee boys. They do believe in the glory and the power of God. They have no doubt in their minds that Jesus will be victorious and all of this is going to end in glory. All they see is the silver lining. They forget that there may be a cloud as well. Grant us to sit one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory. And Jesus says, you do not know what you are asking, which Jesus could probably say to us about most of our questions. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink? Are you able to drink this love that holds back nothing from the world, that pours out everything? Are you able to drink suffering in the face of persecution and not reach out in retaliation and anger? Are you able to drink perfect love? And then, of course, the whole thing happens where the other disciples get mad, and Jesus explains again about the inverse realities of the kingdom of love. His answer, which he has answered before, and it seems to be hard for them to hear, is that in order to be great, you have to serve. In order to be first, you must be slave of all. And Jesus asking all of the people who come to him, what is it that you want me to do for you? What if instead of trying to answer all of Jesus's questions, we learned to ask Jesus's questions? What if we went through life asking, how can I serve? How can I love? How can I help? So my question, which is such a delight to ask for us all today, is what are the questions that shape your life? Amen.